Dear Helia, life on a ship has always had the chance of pulling all-nighters. You are aware of this as much as I am. It's just part of ship life. If you get attacked in the middle of the night or middle of the day, and it's not your shift, you're expected to help. It affects you just as much as it affects the sailor next to you. Sure, you could stand back and do nothing, but if the ship goes down and you could have been a key player in saving it, your trapped crewmates are not going to be happy you survived. The same is very true about vault diving. You and I know this well. Perhaps me more so than you. But I'm getting distracted from the original thought. I haven't had much sleep in the last little while, but when I have slept, it was hard. I suspect my recovery has more to do with that than my abnormal sleep habits. That is factoring in the sailor life. Samara spotted the first wreck just as I was heading off shift to see Sybil, and then some rest. It wasn't so much the wreck she spotted as it was the scavenger birds. The wreck turned out to be the AMS Witch's Ember. Given the location and the birds, I was pretty certain that there wasn't anything too dangerous left on the ship. A good vault diver knows to always expect something. And I mean, there was something. The wreck had been down there for a while and was pretty clean, all aside from a dead outsider on it, a tentacle-like creature in a decomposing state. There was a strong scent of something chemical in the air and an oily black substance on the creature's skin. I'm not sure if this is what killed it or a side effect of its dying. I do have Sybil looking into it for me. She's smarter in that kind of stuff than me. The thing had been dead for a while, which makes me think that perhaps Blairdral's team came across it first while looking for the Foggy Toddler. It would explain the smell of chemicals. They have access to some high-tech toys due to his success. This was almost a dive that never happened for me. Aquita tried to put his foot down, but you felt the pull of the vault. And honestly, with an opportunity that close, you know how hard it gets. I had to take Primrose with me. She is currently our one and only power armor operator. She's also the lucky lady that got to take the duelist pin. Well, the idea of power armor is great on a dive. It's also large and heavy, which the Witch's Ember was half stuck on a jutting rock mass. You could feel the weight shift when she was on the ship. Not something I'm super comfortable with. The current team I favor for the vault is Rhiannis, a Nephilim Zephyr. Not the brightest, but kind of like Wrath, he makes up for it in his ability to fight. I honestly don't know if he likes me or just listens to me because I'm a mate. When we were dealing with our outsider, he tried to kill me. The choice seemed like a logical one to me, as the outsider was after me. I don't fault him for it. It's perhaps one of the smarter things he's tried to do. Then there's Christopher Napier, a sharpshooter IDA ex-military. He's an interesting character. He was originally a sergeant for the Corpus Corvus and went by the name of Elisha Reed. Samara kind of pressured him into joining our crew way back on the Fairweather. We were captured by a Corvus ship, things got messy, and we ended up sinking the ship. Dicey to have him on our crew, and in all fairness, he did try to betray us while we were in Samoa. He's compliant enough you tend to forget how he ended up on our ship. I hesitate to say he enjoys it better, but hates the idea of betraying his country. I never really thought about the fact till right now that he might be tempted by the thought again, with Samoa holding such a strong powerhouse. I suspect Samara has laid out some sort of detailed torture for him if she catches him even thinking about betrayal. The fact remains that we are less murderous than the Corvus, and this is something I think he likes. He's the one that shot Drax in the leg to neutralize him, rather than kill him. He's shown this compassion a few times. It's a relief to know that he has a moral code. Ex-Corvus is just as likely to stab us while we sleep. It's one of the things that I admire about him and try to respect. He's also a very smart Ida and has a good eye. Both have proven useful more than once in the vault. Usually I would take Shep and Setri, but Shep blinded himself coming down from his Ida high. The man is a good field doctor and handles himself in a fight. Setri is a murder panda. The two come hand in hand. You typically don't get one in a fight without the other. I have already mentioned Primrose and my mixed feelings about power armor. We took one of the boilers from the Witch's Ember. Well, it's a boiler from a brigantine, and the Crooked Revenant is a sloop. It will work and do the job we need it to. It's incredibly too large for the Revenant, and puts it out of balance, but at least it moves now without being towed. The crew nearly sent the Witch's Ember further into the vault while doing it. The ship is very unstable. For this whole dive, I was trying to take it easy. And as much as I wanted to be the one to find out what was at the end of the tentacle mass, and what kind of outsider we were dealing with, I sent Rhiannis. See, I am growing and being a responsible officer. Strategically, it was the right call to have the sharpshooter stay back and cover. Likewise, Primrose and I wouldn't have been help if the creature was alive. I did take Morgan to the dead outsider later, mostly to find out if it was one of the outsiders that carried a token. He seems to key in on them, but if it was, the token was gone. More than likely, either Blardral took the token or the creature never had one. It's good to get Morgan out. Sometimes I think he grows bored of ship life. Moving away from the Witch's Ember, we started seeing wooden debris. I took a moment to go over the charts with Aquita, setting up a course to where I assumed the Foggy Toddler was. I would like to take a moment to let that sink in. You know, your ship and your crew is used to trouble when the captain doesn't bat an eye when you set up a course to a ship that no one has come back from. This was one of the points where I was finally able to get off my feet, having been up nearly 24 hours. It's the same lightheaded fog that comes when you haven't had enough food before drinking that was settling in, but more than likely it was from the lack of sleep mixed with my injuries. The Foggy Toddler was hardly a ship, mostly just wooden chunks. It would appear it got hit by another ship. Christopher pointed out that it was most likely not rammed by another ship, but more practically, an old wreck was thrown at the ship by a large outsider, which I feel stupid for not thinking about first. There were no bodies or remains from the bumpy descent, not even wreckage. We did find a small campsite and notes that appear to be Blardral's. They came looking for an artifact, which I assume is what was causing the pillar of vault. The notes do make it clear that he was likely attracted to the wreck with the idea of a book in mind, on top of the artifact. There are a lot of questions that are left hanging in the air about the whole situation. From the notes, it sounds like Blardral was left in the vault for a couple of weeks. And maybe his crew came back for him, or maybe he's still missing. If you have his fame, it's likely it wouldn't be advertised if he was missing. It might cause too much of a panic. Maybe he was left there because a large vault creature came along, attracted to the new ship in the area, or maybe the artifact itself. Maybe his crew didn't want to come back for him. Maybe he found a different way out, with pirates. Maybe he got eaten. Maybe he's still out there. Maybe we didn't search hard enough. Questions to ponder while dealing with the pirate base. Maybe Samara can get some info about the bumpy descent there. Frankly, it seems more interesting than what Morden has us doing. Signed, yours always, Born Mad Hades.